orders a volley fire. This was the most effective type of fire, where everybody in the unit fires at one time. And if they were jam-packed together, they could focus a little better. But that's still a lot of lead pointing at these poor, unfortunate Yankees who only have thin rail fences to hide behind. And they're not even doing that right now. They're taking advantage of cover, taking advantage of trees. This is called open order, not close order. The rifle, as you can see, has to be loaded every time it's fired. It is loaded from the front of the rifle.
Do you want to say something? You're looking anxious.
Thank you.
It's a muzzle loading rifle. You shoot it, then you have to reload it. Each man reaches into his cartridge box, takes a packet of gunpowder made in factories back in the cities, empties the gunpowder into the muzzle, usually follows it with the paper, then follows it with a mini ball, a bullet, which is rammed down into the bottom of the bore. It's rammed right down there. And for safety's sake, we reenactors do not use our ramrods. We do not even pull our ramrods out of the field, because there's always a chance that somebody in the heat of battle here, even false battle like this, might drop a ramrod down in that barrel and send that shooting out at the enemy. We don't want that to happen. We practice safe civil war here. The rest of the Yankee regiment looks to be the 3rd Maine Committee have advanced. It is indeed the 3rd Maine. And Yankee cavalry. Looks like the, whoa! Looks like the second Florida Colored Cavalry. These were former slaves recruited into the Union Army and had their own unit. Just a word about casualties. If somebody falls off a horse, that was an accident. We're not Hollywood stuntmen. Many of the reenactors come from literally hundreds and hundreds of miles away to enjoy their hobby. I'll speak about that in a little bit. But you have to realize, I hope you realize, that there goes the courier back to report to the general what the scouts have seen, how many troops they're up against. At this point, we usually get the question, well, there's a heck of a lot of shooting going on here. Why isn't anybody falling down? Well, the answer is simple. You don't drive 500 miles just to die in the first 2 minutes. Later on, you will see plenty of fake casualties. In your minds and in your eyes, I want you to expand these distances. Normally, they would not be shooting this close together. But for our purposes, for the battle demonstration, they are. Looks like another Confederate company has entered the field on the Confederate right to counteract this 2nd Florida Colored Cavalry. The Yankees seem to be pushing forward. Each reenactor out here buys his own uniform, buys his own tentage. They live for the weekend in the tents you see on the far right, the Union camp and the Confederate camp on the distance there. And they actually pay to be here. So, all of their equipment they buy. And where do they buy it? If you look straight across past the cavalrymen, you'll see the tents of the settlers. These are merchants who followed the army and sold the soldiers things that the army could not provide to them. For us, it means these are merchants to provide us with an opportunity to buy our uniforms, our belts, our leathers, our brass decorations, and even our rifles and tonnage. We buy these from the sutlers. So we do encourage you all to visit the sutlers, and you can learn a lot just by walking around in there. Pick up something if you're not sure of it. Ask the sutler and he'll tell you a whole story about it. He'll tell you what it's all about and how it happens. And you can buy things. You'll notice that when the soldiers get close to each other, they elevate their rifles above the heads of the enemy. And this is a safety measure so that in case anything happens to get in the barrel of the rifle, nothing comes out by accident. The word has come back from the general to keep pushing the rebels back, and they're doing their best, but the rebels, the rebels seem to have lead feet. No, they're rallying at their officer now. He has rallied them in their battle line, and the Yankees push forward. Give a cheer for the Yankees if you like them. You're welcome to boo, too. We don't have all that other correctness stuff here. You can boo for anybody you want. You will notice that our first casualty here is a Florida reenactor. You can tell that he is a native of Florida because he has found a shady spot to take a hit. Not on an anthill. Just little details I thought you'd appreciate knowing. Even the reenactors that have cannons and horses, they buy all that stuff themselves. Nobody pays them to be here, usually. Sometimes you get a job in a movie, and sometimes not. Our wounded fellow seems to be all right. Give him a hand. Maybe that'll help him get to his feet and pray. I would like to say a word about women. There were women in the armies of North and South. It was illegal. It was against the law for a woman to pass herself off as a man and join the armies of North and South. But you know women, that didn't stop them. Didn't even slow them down much. Well, think about it. A man and his wife have a small family farm. They're both needed to run the farm. If the man goes off to war, the woman is going to starve to death. She's not going to be able to maintain the farm. So a lot of times what the ladies did was they'd shave their hair, bind themselves if they were particularly well endowed, and they would show up at the recruiter with their husband. The physical back then did not require removal of any items of clothing. The recruiting officer simply examines your teeth to make sure you had at least 4 teeth. 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. You think I'm joking, but that's the truth. That was, the reason for that was, if you were in the infantry, you had to have at least 2 opposable teeth on top, and 2 opposable teeth on the bottom to tear the cartridge paper in battle. You didn't have teeth, you couldn't be in the infantry at least. They listened to your heart. If you had a particular cough or something, like consumption, which is the old-time word for tuberculosis, they didn't want you in. But any other, if you were healthy enough, and a good, strong, young farm boy, or a farm girl that looked like a boy, they would take you in. Some youngsters, oh, that was a good cannon shot. 2 good cannon shots. Go ahead, cheer for the rebels if you want. That's going to put heart in them graybacks, it sure is. Some youngsters who wanted to be in the Army and they knew that the minimum age was 18 years old, what they would do when they went to the recruiter, they would put a piece of paper with the number 18 in their shoe, and then put their foot in their shoe. So after the examination, when it came time to enlist, the recruiter would have them place their hand on a Bible, raise their hand, and say, "Swear before God how old you are." And the boy could honestly say, well, semi-honestly say, "I swear to you, sir, that I am over 18. Because, no, it's true, because he would, morality was something strongly thought of in those days, and you didn't want to lie with your hand on a Bible. So, technically speaking, it wasn't a lie. He was over the number 18. But we know in the Union Army at least of 4,000 women who were in regiments of the Federals because they applied for their benefits afterwards. And they gave the name that they fought under, and if it was we know also of at least 2,200, or maybe 22,000, 2,200 women who were in the nursing corps, who also applied for benefits after the war. This is just Federals. And you know, if we know about 4,000 soldiers, you know there had to be about 10 times that many. If a woman disguised herself as a man, fought with her regiment, fought bravely, and even if the other men knew that she was a woman, they didn't report her because they wanted another body in the field with a rifle. That was good. That was a comrade in arms. Man or woman, didn't matter to the soldiers. If an officer found out, that was a different story. He'd have to send her home and cashier her out of the army. 3rd Maine has been forced to retreat. Notice their lips are hanging heavy. But they're brave men. They won't cry on the field. There's one crying? You see one crying? Put him out of his misery.
Popping and popping.
Well, these are old guys out there, some of them.
Yeah,
This old guy sits here. I used to do all that.
that's why I'm behind the camera.
Good idea. Hold that tree up, Clay. Come on, hold that tree up. Don't let it fall. Confederates are gathering more men, and as you can see by looking way across the field under the tops of trees, there's a whole other regiment that has showed up there. And to the far right, there's another regiment moving up. But more Yankees are coming too. So be careful what you look for. The range of the rifled musket, as I said, was up to about 500 or 600 yards. That's 5 or 6 football fields. The range of the cannon was about a mile. Normally, any one of these cannons could shoot a cannonball a mile. Now, they didn't often do that because, as I say, this is a line of sight battle. If you couldn't see the enemy, there's no point in shooting at a bunch of trees that you thought there was somebody. You didn't know there was somebody in it. It wasn't like there was any, as I say, no eye in the sky and satellite photos of enemies. So, but the cannon range was a mile for a cannonball. That's a ball, round ball, bouncing along the ground. The purpose of that ball was to take out formations of the enemy who are close packed, shoulder to shoulder. The cannonball bounced through several lines of infantry and not even stop. Even when it was rolling slowly, inexperienced soldiers would try to put a foot out to stop it and to take a foot off. It was rolling slowly because it's a 12-pound iron ball and it's got momentum. The other type of cannon shot was shrapnel, and this was an iron ball, a hollow iron ball filled with gunpowder with a fuse in it. And this would be fired over the heads of the enemy and timed, hopefully, with the technology of the day, to explode when it was over top of the enemy. Sometimes this worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes they just bounced off into nothingness and didn't even just fizzed out. The third type of cannon shot is called canister, and this was the most dangerous type. When the enemy got close enough to a cannon in front, the cannoneers would load with canister, which was basically a tin can filled with about 50 or 60 musket balls. And this made the cannon very much like a shotgun. Very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. And effective up to about 200 yards, so they didn't often load with that until the enemy got really close. It was deemed a matter of pride for some of the infantry, foot soldier officers, to tell their regiments to take that cannon battery, charge that cannon battery. And out of pride, they tried to do that, but not often did they get close enough. These rebels in here, rebels at the top of the hill are charging the federal formation. He's here at the bottom of the hill. I'm holding it around right now. Uh-oh, that charge didn't work. This might work. I hope you'll notice the flag that the Confederates are waving. This is the first national flag of the Confederacy. This is not the Stars and Bars. Stars and Bars. I'm sorry, this is the Stars and Bars. This is the Stars and Bars. The Confederate battle flag, which you see the other group of Confederates carrying, is the Confederate battle flag. That is never referred to by soldiers at that time as the Stars and Bars. That is another yellow here. At the conclusion of this, several things are going to happen that you might be interested in. So here's what we're going to leave right away. First of all, over on your far left, you see a yellow flag with a green H on it. This is the hospital flag, and Dr. Parenti is going to show you how Civil War medicine was accomplished. Yes, gather around at the end of the battle. You'll see some amputations, clothing for bullets, all the sorts of things that you want your kids to see and remember. It's at the end of the battle, after the final salute. That the uniforms of the rebels and of the Yankees are not just plain blue and gray. Like you see, the Confederate uniforms ran to all different shades of gray, from white to almost to black. And you'll see that's because the Confederates did supply. On the Yankee side, it's mostly dark blue over light blue. But you see the soldiers in the center of the field with the red pants. This was a pre-war militia unit called the 14th Brooklyn. The 14th Brooklyn. Now, the militia units back then, before the war, they could dress any way they wanted, except black blue or light blue. So the colonels that recruited these militia units sometimes got very excited. Since the most formidable army of the first half of the 19th century was the French army, the colonel of the 14th Brooklyn determined that his men should be outfitted like chasseurs of the Special Period. Most of the regiments that went in with these exotic uniforms, when the uniforms wore out, they just started making their Union issue uniform of dark blue over light blue. But the 14th Brooklyn was one of the units, and you see the other soldier there with 114th Pennsylvania down in this. A single soldier here representing 114th Pennsylvania. The 14th Brooklyn was one of those units that got a steady supply from home. They were proud of their uniforms. Unfortunately, they made excellent targets. The 5th New York was another such unit, but they. Now this is a back and forth battle that you see happening here. This is how battle happened. The unit would move forward, get shot up a little bit, move back, force the unit back, take casualties, jump into the line.
Here, the ice cream truck.
Ball back, run!
Normally, when people retreated, they would try to keep some semblance of order. But this is just too close for comfort here for these poor rebels. Go ahead, cheer them on if you like, if you think the rebels should do something. I was talking earlier about women in the ranks. We follow the rules of the Civil War soldiers and the Civil War armies. And that is, basically, if you can't tell it 10 feet away, you're good. You will notice some very pretty young soldiers out there. Them is probably the women. The ceasefire has been called by the bugler on the Confederate side, and I think the battle's not over. I think the commanders are going to parley. That means talk. That's a French word, meaning talk. I'm not sure. They don't tell me ahead of time what's going to happen. So a lot of this I'm just making up.
Hey, Chuck! I got you, baby. I got you.
That is known as taunting. And it is perfectly allowed. They would yell across the lines, even during a battle, things like, things about their mothers. They would yell things about battles that the other side lost. Gettysburg for the Yankees and Fredericksburg for the...
Rick, we got a medical. Okay. Far side of the field.
Okay. I've just been told that we've suspended the battle momentarily because there is a real medical emergency on the other side of the field. When that happens, we just simply stop the battle until the person is taken care of. Here comes the first responders. Far side of the field. Again, let me mention a few things that are going to happen after the battle. First of all, there will be a gigantic salute right here in front of you. The salute will be all of the soldiers on the field with their rifles, and they will all shoot at the same time. And this is a salute, a thank you to you for coming, but mostly it's a salute to the men and women of America's armed forces, past and present, who have served their respective countries for their respective causes. And we like to salute that kind of thing. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So that will be something to see and something to hear. I'll remind you, if you have small children or wiener dogs, you just keep them close because we don't want no stampede like last time. The other thing, the medical tent will be open for simulated surgeries and Civil War medical treatment. And we also will have a special guest giving a short on the 2nd Florida Colored Cavalry.
Forget the gentleman's name. Remember his name? Real medical emergency.
Emergency is over.
Too much work.
You're getting a real treat today, folks. You're getting the sights, you're getting the sounds, you are getting the smell, you can't inspire you to feel that pump through the earth. If it frightens you at all, and you don't want to make me. Each of these units each of these units has been designated. Normally these would be state units, such as the 33rd Virginia, 37th Alabama on the field. Florida Battalion is out there. On the Union side, we have 14th Brooklyn, 97th Pennsylvania, we have the 3rd Maine, we have the 7th Michigan, the 11th Illinois. Again, they don't, if they give me a piece of paper with it, it'd be nice. But I just know some of the guys in some of the battalions. If your state is not mentioned, doesn't mean you don't have a representative out there. It just means, I don't know. Chief Cole there saving the, or at least for a while, saving the Confederate battle flag from the wounded. Let me mention something about the non-combatants out there. These are the people that do not have firearms or swords or anything. Uh-oh. They're going to try to push them back. Unfortunately, they're up against the Henry rifles, which are not muzzle loaders, but we fire 7 or 8 times before they have to be reloaded. We have 3 types of non-combatants out here. First of all, it's the drummer boys and the fifers. These were people, some grown men, but some children as young as 9 years old, who marched onto the field playing their drums and fifes. Not just for the musical enjoyment, but to actually signal for the officers. Yes, they were afraid to be killed, but they were brave as well. Some as young as 9 years old. The other type of non-combatant we have is the flag bearer, who is not armed, and his job is just to hold the flag above the regiment that he is with. You may not realize how important that is, but if it were not so breezy today, the powder smoke would settle right where it is. And in a few volleys of gunfire, you would not be able to tell which unit you were actually firing at. It may have been moved, and replaced by a friendly unit. And you might be firing at if it went to the flag bearer, you wouldn't know. So the flag bearer's job is very important. The other type of combatants you see a few of, and these are women who are dressed as nurses. We call them our ice angels. And what they do is they bring us ice water on the field. I know the soldiers in the field really appreciate that. See a young boy out there about 10 or 11 years old. He's in the Cradle Grade Brigade, and he's being used as a messenger and helping his dad. And he's been wounded. Messenger or runner between units.
Tell your wife, shut up.
You see a lot of them. And again, those are the non-combatants.
What's wrong with you, young man?
A lot of high drama going on out here. Officer trying to get more out of this man than he seems capable of. Also serving a second to see if he's doing okay. Also after the battle, the world famous will play a few more films for you. This will be after the salute and probably after the lecture. So don't rush out to your car. You know you're not getting on the road fast anyway. You should know better. So just stick around. Go visit the sutlers. You can even stick around the camp. If you're interested in a hobby of Civil War reenacting, I will mention a few things to you. All you have to do is talk to the soldiers in the camps when they're not busy shooting at each other. Find out if there's a club or a unit that's in your city and ask when they shoot. And they'll be glad to tell you. What we usually do is we let a prospective member get on the field, we outfit them completely, see if they like it. We make sure they're safe, You will see, you will recognize the new people out there because they have smudges on their face. This is like an initiation. Put gunpowder all over them to make sure they get a taste of everything. Doesn't matter to the rebels. They just don't have enough men to finish the job. They're moving, even their teams are moving back. You southern ladies have hankies. Get them out and start to fly away your feet.
That was good.
That is called a double load.
That was close.
He was smart enough to know that one.
Almost threw hair on this thing. Not quite. Almost. Almost.
Are there any Navy or Marines out there?
No, I don't see any today.
I thought there was one in the red one.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were. Huh? Wait, where? No. The red one? Individual red person? No, that's 114th Pennsylvania.
Comprises 6 things that Americans just love, can't get enough of. Their ancestry and things that happened in the past that you will be connected to something. Secondly is socializing, sitting around a campfire, drinking adult beverages or yoo-hoo, and talking about what a fine battle it was and sharing your reminiscences. Third thing is camping, the great outdoors. You can smell that fresh air. And living in tents, eating your own food for a weekend time machine. Fourth aspect of relaxing is shopping. It's not just you women that love shopping. An actor over the Sutler, with fresh water and you'll see something going on. We urge you to visit the Sutlers after the battle. If you do cross the field, please do not pick up any cartridge papers because they might still have gunpowder in them, and we don't want any of you little kids getting any of it. We don't even want any of you adults getting any of it.
That guy in the hole over there. Where? Yeah, right over there. Right over there. What is that? What are you doing? That fella, he's a courier. He's passing orders. He's telling them where to go. But today we're coming by radios.
You may have noticed the one man dressed in green out there. He is a Berdan sharpshooter. You see them recruiting right there. Hiram Berdan recruited 2 regiments of sharpshooters, outfitted him himself, and he wanted them to wear green because he thought they blended in with the trees much better. And he was right. You had to be a good shot with Berdan sharpshooters. Oh, cavalry action here. Cavalrymen were armed with, usually with pistols, usually 2 pistols and some cylinders that they could pop in so they wouldn't have to go back to camp and load up. Berdan sharpshooters were normally armed with a Sharps rifle, which was very accurate. To be a Berdan sharpshooter, you had to be able to put 10 rounds either in or touching the range of a 5-inch bullseye at 200 yards.
Huh? Call me a liar? Modern weapon, yes. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sniper? Shooter? Among other things. What is he, a good husband?
most of it.
I think he's right behind me.
Yeah.
Children. Where else?
Lieutenants are putting one more push on. Go ahead and steer for the rebels if you've a mind to. They could sure use it.
Tell me the other day that train was a submarine. Like, okay.
Bubba Cola. Is the Iowa still around? Maybe 61.
Yeah, my grandpa.
He's already in. Good.
You're supposed to be fighting, not. You're supposed to be fighting, not flirting, soldier. That's the rebel turkey call. It was very insulting to the Yankees.
Huh? Yankees can't hunt? Yeah.
The average age of the Civil War soldier, according to most statistics, was 26 years old. He was about 143 pounds, and about 5'7". There were men a lot younger and men a lot older. There was one regiment, I think out of Illinois, called the Graybeards. You had to be 60 years old to be in that regiment.
Not yet. Once they run. These guys travel 500 miles, shots off. A lot of powder in that one, I saw. Did a very good job with that. Wow. From the front end, so
I don't think that's a very brave act hiding behind your dead commander. Maybe that's just me. Stuck on the ground is named Victor Smith, and his nickname is Pork Chop. I don't make it up. That's it. The rest of Pork Chop.
is he okay? Closely, he's laughing. I want to call it match, man.
Oh no, that was a good shot.
We're going to lose more if you keep doing that.
That's not what we mean by defense.
Sorry. Couldn't help it.
The guys with the Henry rifles. The Henry Arms Company is still making that rifle called the Eagle, and they are still available.
Shoot it!
To buy and shoot live.
fix the fence.
They might have one more push. Oh no! Where's that cheer for the Yankees?
Oh, it's not the Jets, the Nets.
Just got to make sure. Make sure. Gave him the sword.
He's funny. You're not scared, are you? No, you're laughing. You better be laughing. Huh? You never? Okay, don't ever laugh. Just cry all the time.
Ceasefire has been played on the bugle. In a few moments, taps will be played, and we ask that you men remove your hats when taps is played. Resurrect. Resurrect. How about a nice hand for the armies of North and South?